Are Mercedes finally back amongst it? Well, they've got a long way to go yet. But if the Australian Grand Prix is anything to go by, they are certainly making some progress. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Joe Tyrrell, and welcome back to GP Blog. Mercedes looked somewhat like them normal selves last weekend. After 16 months of being terribly mediocre, and in no man's land when it comes to both the Constructors and Drivers Championship, Mercedes seemed to be the second fastest team at Albert Park. But what evidence do we have to suggest that they may be making more progress than they are actually letting on? Well, before we get into that, we are so close to 1500 subscribers, so hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and also comment which Mercedes driver you think will finish higher in the championship. So Mercedes looked much better in Australia, despite very much playing down their chances of a good result. However, was this actually expected? Lewis Hamilton seemed somewhat relieved and surprised when he was praising his team after the race. On the radio, he said, "Mega job guys, what an amazing result. Thank you so much." This wasn't the radio message of the race winner, nor the championship leader, rather Hamilton finishing second, one place up from qualifying in third. Had George Russell not received such bad luck, Mercedes might have been celebrating a double podium, which would have been an even bigger surprise. Now, we've heard messages like that from Hamilton in the past, but it was more the tone of his voice and the audible relief he let out. It seemed like he could see the progress, and Mercedes were making strides. And it wasn't just Hamilton who seemed to acknowledge the progress. In their post-race interviews, both Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso were not surprised at all by the performance of the Mercedes. So was it almost expected? We'll never know for sure, but all weekend in Australia, there were shoots of life. During FP1 for the Australian Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton had the second fastest combined best sectors, behind only Max Verstappen. In Sector 1, he was third fastest, Sector 2, he was second, and in 3, he was even quicker than Max, just behind Perez, so signs of hope early on. And there was even more on Friday when Mercedes put out the third fastest top speed, behind Red Bull and AlphaTauri, which we don't read into too much. Whilst Red Bull were miles clear, recording a top speed of 326 km/h, Mercedes were best of the rest, excluding AlphaTauri, with 319 km/h. However, expectations were always steady, as Mercedes were never really near the top of the timesheet, barring Hamilton's P2 in FP1. When things got serious on Saturday, their duo delivered. Verstappen is so far clear, but Russell and Hamilton both pushed him, probably as much as their equipment would allow, qualifying second and third. And then in the race, they gave a good fist of it too, and after 3 corners were actually first and second. Realistically, Max Verstappen in the Red Bull was going to come back, but they could have pushed him even more had Russell not had so much bad luck. Mercedes would have been able to attack Verstappen 2-on-1, potentially splitting strategies, or just made life as difficult as possible with 2 cars able to defend. So all in all, I don't think Mercedes could have asked for a better weekend. They seem to have found some pace, and going into Baku, many will tip them to lead the chasing pack. However, expectations must be tempered, given the fact that this is just one race. Perhaps their car works in Melbourne, and it won't work in Baku. We'll just have to find out in a few weeks. Well, that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.